Hi there. Welcome to the 40 Plus Fit community. And I'm about to talk you through our nutrition plan, meal plans. They work amazingly well. We've had so many people go through them and have the most amazing results, including Chris and myself. So I just want to let you know that this plan is designed to take the guesswork, I guess, out of healthy eating and give your body the fuel it needs to get the best results from this training. So whether your goal is fat loss or strength or feeling more energized, following this plan will get you there without any fad diets or confusion. It's not difficult. There's no rocket science in it. It doesn't use exotic or very different foods. It's very average foods that we would normally use, but it works amazingly well. And I have seen it work like this so many times. So I get very excited when people are interested in doing it. Now, I'm just going to get up on my screen the actual plan. And here it is here. Right. So our first page here, uh, that's just that page there, which you have a copy of this yourself. That page there is very self-explanatory. I'm not going to talk you through that. You can just read through that if you haven't already. This page I'm going to talk a bit more about. So this is where it breaks up the macronutrients. You'll see that this whole plan is quite high in protein. There's a very good reason for that. High protein is there to help you build muscle so that you can get stronger and do the exercises even better and progress through them. But it also has um, the ability to increase your metabolic rate. You'll have a better blood sugar. You'll have much higher energy and a whole lot more by having a better muscle to fat ratio, meaning higher fat muscle, not fat. Okay, so you can see here that all the food is broken up into four macros: proteins, fat, carbs, and vegetables. There's a wide variety of everything in there to choose from, so hopefully it will meet your own personal tastes. Um, so in the proteins, or in each of them, each line is one serve. So 170 grams of chicken breast is one serve. 170 grams of lean beef is one serve. Same with the fat. 2 tablespoons of natural peanut butter is one serve. 2 tablespoons of almond butter is one serve. Same with the carbs and the vegetables. Each line is one serve. So, as I said, you can see that here in the proteins, there's a lot there to choose from. If you're vegan, that's different, and we need to talk about that. If you are pescatarian, there's quite a lot of options in there. If you eat everything, then you'll be very happy. The fat is fabulous fats. They are really, really nice fats that are in here, make food taste very tasty. Um, and sometimes they can be used in different ways, which I'll talk about in a moment. Um, the carbs, lots again to choose from, but I really want to point out that your fruit is included in carbs, which is a bit different. You can see here that you've got 3/4 of a cup of berries, um, and a piece of fruit. Half a piece of fruit is one serve. So berries, you get a lot more. If you want to have fruit, you get a lot more out of berries than you do an ordinary piece of fruit or any other piece of fruit. Now, vegetables, there is a number of vegetables that you can't have on this that they ask you not to have. So it's peas, carrots, corn, pumpkin, beetroot, and eggplant. And everybody has a little cry when I tell them about that. But that's because they're very high in sugar. However, you can have as much of everything else as you want. So there is still a huge variety of vegetables, and this here is just a short list. There are way more vegetables than this that you can have. Also, don't forget you can have things like garlic and ginger and all of those things that flavor food beautifully. Now, that's what you eat. That's a list of what you eat. Down here is how you eat it and when you eat it. So you can see here this first little pie graph shows you that you can have one vegetable. So I'll just go back one step because I didn't explain the colours. You can see the proteins are blue, fat is yellow, orange is carbs, and green is vegetables. Also, what does the palm, thumb, fist, and fist mean? It means the size. So your protein needs, if you're not measuring and you don't have any scales, it'll be about the size of your fist, the piece of protein that you have. For fat, it'll be about the size of your thumb. For fist again, for carbs, and the same for vegetables. So down here, it's color coordinated. The vegetables are green. 1+ means as many as you like. Have as many vegetables as you like with your breakfast. Protein is choose one from the protein list, and carbs, choose one from the carbs list. Now, just a little tip here. I've done this diet, so I got a bit clever about the way that I would put these things together to suit me and how I like to eat. And you can do it however you like, as long as you stick to this. You will see this plan work beautifully for you. But what I was going to say is, you can use half of one and half of another in the same list to make one whole. So, for example, you might want to marinate your chicken in yogurt. They're both from the protein list, so you would halve how much chicken breast there is and halve the yogurt, or you want to make a sauce out of the yogurt to go with your protein. So it has to be from the same list, but half and half of two things make one whole, and that can make your food a lot more interesting as well. Same with your carbs. You might decide that you want to have half of the mashed potato and, I don't know, half a piece of toast, I don't know, whatever. But if it's not half of one piece of toast, it's half of the serve. So the serve you can see here is 1.5 slices. So you'd have half of that, which is nearly one slice, and half of your mashed potato, if that's what you wanted to do. You're welcome to do that. So for breakfast, you're choosing as much as you want from the vegetables, one serve of protein, and one serve of the carbs. And however you do that is up to you. There is also a recipe book, which I'll talk about that in a sec as well, which is great. We've had very good feedback on people using the recipe book, and it's very helpful if you're not really a cook, or if you don't have the imagination around food. Not everybody does. It helps you with that. And on top of that, the recipe book also has all the servings to the correct weights. The one thing about the recipe book, which is great for people who are on their own, it's in servings of one. So if you were a family of 4 and you wanted to cook for 4 of you, you'd need to quadruple the ingredients. Or if there's 2 of you, you'd need to double it. So that's breakfast. Then there's a snack. Now the snack is to be had between breakfast and lunch, and it can either be a protein shake or something from the protein list. And I will talk more about that in a moment as well. Now, sometimes people are at work and don't have the opportunity to have a snack in between breakfast and lunch. If that's you, you can actually add that snack to your next meal. So instead of having one protein serve at lunch, you would actually be having 2. And the same with the second snack, which is between lunch and dinner. If you're not a person that is able or wants to even have that snack in between, you can stick it into your next main meal, which would be dinner. Now, you can see here that breakfast and lunch are the same portions and the same foods that you're having. So they're interchangeable. In the recipe book, that means anything that's in the breakfast list, you could have at lunch, or anything in the lunch list, you could have for breakfast. Dinner's different. Dinner, you can see here, it has 1 serve of protein, as many vegetables as you want, and 1 serve of fat. So you're having your carbs in the morning and lunch, but you're having a fat at dinner. You don't have any of the fats for breakfast and lunch. I hope that makes sense. I just want to go back to the carbs and just explain a little bit about the bread. If you're a person who loves bread, and I'm one of those people, but I have learned to live without it as time's gone by, or have less of it, I should say. I don't live without it completely. But you can see here there's 2 types, and you may not have heard of Ezekiel bread before. Ezekiel bread is a sprouted wheat bread, and it's a very heavy, very dense bread. So if you think that that's the sort of bread you would like, then you will love Ezekiel bread. And you can only get it from the health food stores. I know that the health food store on Kate Street at Woody Point has it, and you can get it there. The other bread here is a spelt flour sourdough. Now, I do believe Woolies does actually have a spelt flour sourdough now. They didn't used to. I'm not sure about Coles, but if you can't get it in a supermarket, you can get it at health food stores as well. Spelt flour, in case you don't know, is the original flours. So over the years, the farmers have, um, I guess, changed our wheat to make it grow faster, to produce more, which means our body doesn't recognize it as well as the original flour seed was, which was wheat. So spelt is the original wheat, and it doesn't affect our stomachs as much as our common day wheats do. So they tend to. That is why so many people are gluten free these days, because the wheat itself has been so modified that our bodies don't recognize it as well anymore, and it plays up with our stomachs. And the whole point of one of the whole points of this diet, besides high protein and building muscle, is to get rid of inflammation. We have a lot of inflammation in our bodies from things that we eat and shouldn't eat. And so it's trying to get you to eat things that are going to go well with your body, as well as increase your protein. Okay, so I hope that that makes sense. If you have any questions after this, please feel free to either email them to me or call me or text me. My phone number is 0413 432 124, and you can contact me anytime. You can even contact me if anything doesn't make sense, or you've got some different questions, or you just want to talk through something. Please feel free. Don't sit there and worry or hang up, or sorry, not hang up, but hang on to it rather than call me. I'm very available to you. And if I'm not available at that time, I will come back to you. Now, here I've given some examples of how you might put these things together. This is just a very quick bunch of ideas that I've got both from my own mind, but also I've done some from the recipe book too. So you can easily read through these. And I haven't added all the beautiful condiments that you would add to it to make it more interesting. So, for example, I've got here 6 egg whites, um, your slice of spelt sourdough, and a cup of spinach. Now, on its own like that, I would probably find that a little bit boring. I do really like flavoursome food, but I'm going to take you through the condiment list in a minute, which really peps things up. So I haven't included any of those in these lists. I've just put the macros together so you can see how you might do it. And for those of you that are cooks or very experienced in the kitchen, forgive me. This is more about helping out people who don't normally cook for themselves or aren't into food like I am. So lunch might be chicken breast with basmati rice and a cup of broccoli, but it could be a whole bunch of other things as well. You could put onions and garlic and ginger with that and stir fry that up. Dinner might be fish with some olive oil, and stir fry your vegetables in that olive oil and cook your fish in it as well, because it's quite a decent serve of fat. And remember my tip that I told you before, you can go half and half with things in the same list. So you might want to put, if you weren't having fish, you might, well, even with fish, you could make a mini satay sauce with peanut butter instead of using all of that olive oil. You just need a little bit of imagination. That's all. So, so you can see I've just gone on with that, just given some examples. Now, the recipe book, very easy to follow. I've just given some examples there of some of the meals that are in the recipe book that you might want to follow. Now, snack ideas. Earlier, I said to you that it could either be a protein shake or something from the protein list. I'm not a person who loves protein shakes, and so I also liked having some snack ideas from the protein list. And this makes it a bit more interesting for you. So you might like, if you like a sweet treat, you might like Greek yogurt with vanilla extract, some stevia sprinkled in, and some cinnamon sprinkled on top. Or if you want a more savoury snack, there's a few here that are cottage cheese topped with celery, spinach, and paprika. So your condiments are free. You can have as much of them as you like in the list below. So you can make the snacks very interesting, and you can see that you can have quite a lot of food. Um, I would say to you, if it's too much food, obviously don't force yourself to eat it. But if you are hungry, make sure that you're having all the food available to you, which is a huge amount of food. People are often quite surprised how much food they can actually have on this and still feel great, and others lose weight as well, lots of weight. So the condiments that you're allowed to have are mustard, soy sauce, spices, meat rubs, herbs, lemon juice, salt and pepper, uh, sweeteners, hot sauces, balsamic vinegar, vanilla extract, olive oil. Now, it's free, but you don't go crazy with it. When I say free, I mean that it's not counted as a fat. Um, that way, if you want to fry a piece of meat on a non-stick pan with a bit of oil, olive oil spray, you haven't used your fat then. And then you might want to use your fat for something else, your fat served for something else that evening. So, for example, you might have the small handful of nuts after dinner if you like that. Or if you like me and you like a sweet treat after dinner, I used to whip the cream, which is one of the fats. I would put some vanilla essence in it, and I would put, I like the stevia and monk fruit sweetener because to me that one has the least amount of aftertaste, and whip all that up together, put it in the freezer and semi-freeze it. You don't let it go rock hard because you'll never get a spoon back into it, but it is delicious and tastes like ice cream. So you can do that too. Now, there's a whole bunch of beverages that you can have. Milk is cut out. I know people will say, oh, but you're allowed to have cream, but you're not allowed to have milk. Yes, that's correct. Um, you're allowed to have teas and coffees. Now, what I would say to you is if you're a person that absolutely cannot live without milk in your tea or coffee, then have it. Try to have less, but I would say to you, rather than give up everything because you can't have milk, have a bit of milk. Um, and see if you're able to start decreasing the amount of milk that you have. I absolutely thought I would never be able to have coffee without milk. I really did. I couldn't even stand the thought of it, but guess what? I can now. I don't do it very often anymore, but I can do it. And every now and again, I actually want it, believe it or not, but it's not very often. But I was able to do it, and I surprised myself. The other thing, the tip that I would say here, because there's no alcohol on this, and sometimes that's a problem for people, especially if they're very social and like to go out and have a drink with people. You're making a commitment to yourself. You're investing in yourself for 8 weeks. That's all we're asking. 8 weeks. Try and stick to this. And instead of taking alcohol and having alcohol when you go out, I used to take some soft drink, sugarless soft drink. Now there are some really good ones that are sweetened with stevia. They're excellent. They have hardly any aftertaste, and they're all. I've seen them in the supermarkets, or I bought them from the supermarkets, so they're there, and they're very tasty. And I used to put that in a wine glass because I just couldn't bear the idea of me being like a kid, I guess, and not being able to have something naughty in my wine glass. So I would have that, and actually it was okay. I managed it, but what you do is up to you. Um, and how you manage it, this is up to you. But I would encourage you to give yourself, your body, an 8 week break from some of those things that you would normally have, just to see what happens for you in that 8 weeks. For you to be curious about what would happen to your body, your gut, your skin, your muscles, all of those things, because we get amazing feedback from people when they are able to stick to this. So that is the plan in a nutshell. Um, I will open up the recipe book for you now so that we can have a quick look at that. If I can find it. No, it is here. Just bear with me one moment, please. Should have been ready. Won't be long. I hope. Oh my gosh. Where is it? Sorry about that. So here is our, goodness me, really testing me today, guys. Here is our recipe book. So um, just want to show you. So you can see here there's quite a lot of um, recipes. There's a heap here under breakfast, a heap here under lunches, and then it goes into the dinners as well, and a few extras here for you as well. So there's a lot going on in this little recipe book. It has pictures for everything. It doesn't have huge amounts of ingredients, which is great. Very simple recipes, but a lot to choose from. And my biggest tip to you for making this successful is to be prepared. So one of the things you might do is if you're an early person to rise, you might um, on the weekend before you go to work or whatever your days off are, you might put together something like this turkey bake where they're in the fridge and in the morning you grab them and then just warm them up when you get to work. That sort of thing can be very helpful and it can stop you from eating things that you shouldn't really eat. The other thing that I wanted to say is, so sorry, before I go on, please go through the recipe book and see what's going to suit you and get yourself organized and prepared so that you can give yourself the best chance that you've got. Um, the thing that I was going to say before is that we're not always organized all the time, but that is the best way to be successful at this. So if you find yourself not organized and it's Friday night and it's dinner time and you think, oh gosh, I haven't got anything at home, don't stop at a takeaway. Go into Woolies or Coles and go and buy one of the high protein fresh meals that they've got, or a frozen one, either one, it doesn't matter. And even have some of those in your freezer so that when you do get home and you're not organized, you don't pull out something that you wish you hadn't, that you eat and then wish you hadn't. So try to be organized as much as possible. Try to have things in place in case life isn't how you expect it to be, so that you can give yourself the best chance in with this meal plan. Anyway, that's about all that I've got for you. As I said, if you find yourself with questions or worries or concerns, or you think it's not working for you, please contact me. As I said, don't sit there and go, this isn't working, this is rubbish, or being afraid to call me or anything. Just call me. I get it. I've been through it all. I understand. So yeah, feel free to give me a call and I wish you every success and I look forward to seeing you in the gym. Thank you. Bye bye.